Hi, I'm Michelle Chalfant, psychotherapist, holistic life coach, and human just like you, learning to navigate life's challenges. With over 25 years experience, I teach people how to get healthy using the adult chair model. The adult chair model is where simple psychology meets grounded spirituality, and it teaches us how to become healthy adults. From anxiety and depression to codependency and relationship issues, you can use the adult chair for just about anything. Each week, I share practical tips, tools, and advice from myself and a wide range of experts on how to get unstuck, how to live authentically, and how to truly love yourself, all while sitting in your adult chair. Welcome to the Adult Chair Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Adult Chair Podcast. It's Michelle Chalfant. Delighted to be here with you from North Carolina. Yes, indeed. I've been here 1 week, moved. I shouldn't say all moved in, but man, there was so much that we sold and sent to Goodwill before we moved here. So let me tell you, we came here with a light load and almost all the way moved in just 1 week. But we've been here really just over a week. And let me tell you, it's delightful. I look out over the water. There's something about water, me and water. I'm very happy. So I just want to let you guys know I made it and I'm in heaven over here in North Carolina with all my friends and family and the water and my fish and my kayak and my paddleboard. So everything is going well here on this first day of October. What a show for today. Let me just tell you, walking out of depression. This woman, Tonya, I'm going to tell you how I met her in a minute, but her story, you guys, she walked her way out of depression in like record time, and she used the adult chair model, which is why I wanted to have her on. How I met Tonya was she had applied to be part of the adult chair coaching certification, and whoever applies, I always do an interview. And you don't need to have a background in counseling or coaching. So I like to really get a sense of where people are coming from. So were you a stay-at-home mom? And would you like to be a coach? So I always ask these questions and I want to hear in their own words, why do you want to be a coach? What is it inside of you that's pushing you or calling you to do this? And I was having my call with Tonya, and I said, tell me your story. How did you get here? And she started telling me her story about the depression that she was in. And I mean, deep, dark depression that kind of hit her out of left field. It came out of left field rather quickly and knocked her down. And she talked to me about, during our phone call, her journey of walking out of depression. And I'm going to use a different word or a phrase, and I want you to remember this: cutting through depression. She called the adult chair model her knife, and you're going to hear her whole story in a minute. But you guys, the whole conversation, I either had goosebumps or I had tears running down my face. Her story, it was so incredible. And at the end of our conversation, I said, Tonya, when I hear a story like that really moves me, and I hear someone that really used the adult chair and transformed their lives, I asked them, I'm like, please, would you like to be on the show? Because your story really moves me. And I love that you were able to take this model, by the way, you guys, for free. I didn't even know her. She was in therapy, but she went and found this podcast. I don't remember how, but and she talks about it on the show, and started applying the adult chair model. And she fast forwarded her healing and transformation straight out of depression. That's what blows my mind. So that's why I invited her on. So I'm going to get to her story in a minute. And of course, I said at the end, please be on the show. And she was a nervous wreck, like most people are that don't have a podcast or a show. And she was nervous, but she did agree to be on. And it's delightful. She is delightful. She's a big love. So we're going to get to her story in one moment. But I have two huge announcements. Huge. You guys asked for this all year long. And guess what? It is back. It is here. It is time. It is time. The 30-day journaling challenge. It is starting November 1st, and we are taking your sign up right now. And by the way, 100% free, as always. This is I think our third year of doing this. Go to theadultchair.com/30 days. That's 30days. And you will be enrolled for 30 days for this journaling challenge. And what happens is every single day for 30 days, you get a new journaling prompt in your inbox. Now, I spend a lot of time writing out these prompts. This is not a one-liner. These prompts are to take you on a deep dive into yourself that promote transformation. So even if you're listening to the show into November, you can still sign up, not to worry. You can still sign up and you'll just start on that day and you'll get your 30 days as well. But it is such a great time to do it because we're entering into the holiday season when it's stressful. These journaling prompts bring you back to balance. So now's the time. And by the way, if you are already on my mailing list, you will not get these. You have to sign up for this challenge. I do not inundate anyone with emails. You have to sign up for things and if you want them. So theadultchair.com/30 days. The last thing or second thing I want to say, second and last, registration for Charleston Adult Chair Workshop is open. That's January 14th through 16th. We'll be in the lovely, actually the beaches. It's actually in Isle of Palms, North Carolina, my favorite place. We're going to be on the beaches of of Charleston, which is Isle of Palms, January 14th through 16th. Hurry up and sign up for that. That registration is only open for a couple months and then we are shutting it down. So that's at theadultchair.com/events. So come check that out. We would love to have you there. All right, here we go with the lovely, lovely Tanya. Welcome to the show, Tanya.
Hello, how are you?
So happy to have you with us today. Tanya, you made me cry, and I was sharing with you before we started to record. When I hear someone share with me, whether it's my girls will forward me the emails that make me cry. I get, the social media that makes me cry. You are becoming an adult chair certified coach. And I interview everybody before I accept them into the program. And you were telling me your story about why you want to be a coach. And you were talking about your story. And I asked you, how'd you even find the adult chair? And you said something. You said the adult chair became my knife. And I was like, ooh, what's that mean? That's so cool. And in you telling me your story about how the adult chair transformed your life, I was in tears. I had goosebumps the entire, however long we talked. I think we were supposed to be 15 to 30 minutes and it was like an hour because your story really moved me. And when I hear a story of transformation like yours, I want people like you to be on the show to help inspire other people how to apply this model and to give other people hope, because I feel like it's such a simple to use model and easy to apply. And you are the poster child for that because you and I had never even spoken. Actually, you did come to the workshop in Nashville. The adult chair workshop was in Nashville like a month ago or a couple months ago. And then I'm interviewing you for the coaching certification. I'm like, oh my gosh, your story is mind blowing. So welcome to the show, number one. And why don't you start out? And thank you for being here and sharing your story, because I really feel like it's going to touch a lot of people and really help a lot of people. So the adult chair became your knife. I love that. Why don't you start out there? Because that to me, I was like, ooh, that's so cool. Start out there.
I want to thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Of course.
I'm going to jump right in. Life changes. Mm-hmm. The ripple effect from things outside my control brought me to my knees. Mm. You've often spoke your podcast about rocks in a backpack.
Yeah.
You can only carry it so far. I was going about life. I did not know anything was really wrong. January 2019, I began noticeably losing weight. I didn't worry about it. I was healthy enough. I had weight to lose. By February, my clothes were noticeably larger. I wasn't trying to lose weight, so I went to the doctor. We did blood work, ran some tests. Everything looked good. Okay, I had it checked. I'm just going to ignore it again. I did order a scale so I could keep up with things.
Yeah.
And I kept going. You just dust it off and you keep going. You have things to do.
Isn't that so fascinating? We get in this mindset of, oh, wait, I'm losing all this weight, but oh, well, let me, and we just keep going. But like big things are happening. And yet like you said, most humans, we just keep going. We keep pushing.
We had things to do.
We got things to do. We're busy. Yeah. Okay.
I got business.
Yeah, of course.
July 2019, I shattered. I went as long as I could, I guess.
Yeah.
All the weight from all the things came crashing down.
Yeah.
I've heard it referred to as I dropped the spinning plates.
You dropped the spinning plates?
The spinning plates.
Yeah.
All the plates spinning. I dropped every single one of them.
And that was when? July of 2019?
2019. And a few days later, I found myself sitting in a doctor's office somewhere between shock and denial with my new...
How did you know you dropped the plates? What happened?
I was in a ball on the floor in tears. I just couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't one thing or two things in particular. It was just everything. And that was it. I had a good life. I have a good life.
Yeah.
I've got a great husband. I've got kids. I've got a quote unquote perfect life.
Yes.
Looking at it. But on my inside, I shattered. I completely shattered.
So it wasn't one thing that caused you to shatter. You just had a day and it just shattered on its own.
Every plate dropped all at one time, and everything just, I was the fixer.
Yeah.
I was the fixer. I'm the one that's supposed to fix everything.
Yeah.
Something's broken, let me fix it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Became a point that I couldn't fix something. And anyway, that was.
So you had like a total just collapse and you were crying. Okay, keep going. I like all the details, Tanya.
Hey, you jump in there anytime. Jump in there.
Detail oriented.
I left details out to cut down on the time, maybe.
No, go. I like the details. Go for it.
A few days later, I found myself sitting in a doctor's office, somewhere between shock and denial with my new prescriptions and referral to see a therapist with the label of anxiety and depression. And I was like, wait a minute. What? That's excessive. I don't need all this. I've got my shit together. I'm not depressed.
Yeah.
I don't wait just a second. I'm not depressed. I'm not in the floor. I was at one time, but I mean, I just need something to pick me right back up. I'm low. I just need something to pick me right back up.
Yeah.
I was.
So you had a diagnosis of anxiety and depression?
I did. Mm-hmm. Yes. And that was the first time in 45 years that it had even crossed my mind.
Really? No signs before?
Oh, yeah. Looking back.
Yeah, looking back. But when you were at the doctor's office, you were like, what? No. What are you talking about? Wow.
Yeah. No, I'm like, no, it just not at that point in time. Absolutely. Yeah. And I remember asking her why the Xanax. And she said, because the Celexa will take at least 2 weeks to work.
Oh my gosh.
And she said, I don't feel like you have 2 weeks.
Wow.
And I was, just curse words.
I can't even imagine the shock you were in.
I knew she was right.
Yeah.
I knew how I felt was not normal. I had lost 50 plus pounds.
Oh my God.
In 4 to 5 months.
Wow.
The stress had manifested physically in my body. Mm-hmm. There was nausea, rash, tremors, dizziness, heart flutters, cold sweat, no appetite, breathing, shortness of breath.
I was going to say, were you breathing? Because
no, I hold my breath a lot.
Yeah, same.
And I still
remember. I've done that.
That's on my working list.
Yeah.
Yes, I wasn't even hardly breathing.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I had anyone to talk to, which was horrible. And I was going through all this and I've just got my therapist. I'm not a big sharer. I'll get it myself.
Yeah. So at the time you had a therapist or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
During all this was me. This was me me and my lonesome.
So you didn't think to share with your husband or friends or family? You didn't feel the need to do that.
No,
I'm just curious. Okay.
I had my shit together. No, I didn't need to do that.
Yeah, of course. I get that. I'll handle it. Remember the show Scandal?
Yes.
Olivia Pope?
Yep.
I'm Olivia Pope. I'll handle it. That's my MO. It's like, I'll handle it.
I got it.
Come
Yeah.
to me,
Mine's,
I'll
I
take
got
care of it. Yeah, I
You
got
know,
you. I got
Those
you.
words got me in a lot of trouble. I got
Yeah, I
it.
know.
Yeah.
It's not the best thing, but man, yeah.
We can't help it.
Yeah,
So
I know.
I didn't. So I was at an absolute low. I was in a very dark place. I was suicidal.
Wow. Now that came on as well, like after this point of like really like a little breakdown you had, it sounds like. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Like in that moment, you just collapse, the total collapse.
Everything.
So, but you didn't have suicidal thoughts before then. This is post breakdown.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I actually, I had just the opposite of suicidal thoughts because there was suicide close in my family. And I was like, I don't understand it. Why do people do that? That's selfish.
Wow.
You'll never hear me say that again.
Wow.
I know why people do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
And that is what saved me because I had a very hard head and I knew what damage it did after it was said and done. And
yeah.
So I was diagnosed with this, and which basically meant I did have my prep. Yeah, I was the high functioning anxiety and depression. Just scratch that part.
So, okay. So wait, let me get this straight. So you had a breakdown. You're diagnosed with anxiety and depression. And you said, did you say chronic stress or stress?
Oh, yeah, all that.
I mean, that kind of comes along with the territory. I've been there too. I get that. Suicidal. This is all happening summer of July 2019. So like just a little bit over a year ago. So then how do you go from this state to where you are today? So move us forward on your timeline. So you're on 2 different kinds of meds. And then what happens next?
In July of 2019, I had my first appointment with my therapist.
Gotcha. Okay.
I became a weekly regular. We started peeling back the layers of everything that was so deeply rooted. I was a mess.
Yeah.
I was 45 years old and sitting in a therapist's office, and I didn't know anything about boundaries, anything about how to make healthy boundaries, cognitive distortions. I had no clue the damage those were doing.
Yeah.
I had been in mentally and physically abusive relationships and did not realize it or the damage that it had left behind. My mind was on a runaway train and I could not stop it.
Wow.
I just started the normal therapy, going through everything. I hated the weight loss. It was embarrassing. I didn't like the attention. I had people telling me how great I looked and asking me, what did you do to lose weight? Keto, gastric bypass, what'd you do? I hated going out. I didn't know how to answer them because I wanted to say, I'm just over here looking fabulous on the outside and just in the thick of an emotional crisis.
Yeah.
And I hated it. I hated going out. So I became somewhat to myself more than I actually was in the beginning. My therapist and I met weekly. We discussed the weeks as they passed and worked through issues as they came up and worked on peeling back all the layers of the emotional onion. My mindset quickly became, let's hurry up and get done with this. I don't have time for this. I've got a life. Okay, what are we doing? Let's get it going. This crap was going to kill me if I didn't get a handle on it. So we had to get going. We had to do it. We had to do it right now.
Hurry up. Oh, yeah.
My determination kicked in. Followed the instruction the therapist gave me. I did everything. I began self-care. I rooted deeper in my faith in God and my connection to people in church. And March 2020 was the last time I was physically in her office due to COVID.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Because of COVID.
We've been telehealth ever since. I had been in therapy at that point for 8 months. I remembered looking at my growing office file, and it was, my patient chart. It was 3.5 inches thick.
Oh my gosh.
I would look at it every week. She probably didn't know that, but I would look at it every week, and I would say things sometimes. And I mentioned its size, and she said, again, Tonya, it's deeply rooted. We're just having to peel everything back layer by layer. I didn't like that answer. This was going to take forever. And I told my therapist at that point, jokingly, we need a knife. We need a knife. And I was doing everything I knew I could do. I was leaning and trusting on God. I was praying. I was reading my devotionals. I still felt like I was being attacked. And I had to find something else. In May 2020, I reached out to one person, and she told me about the adult chair. I started listening to the adult chair podcast one after another. I threw myself into it. I shared it with my therapist. She was listening. We were working on things together. I felt it working. Others could see it working. My friend said, "You're getting better," with a pat on the back. She said, "I can tell you're getting better." And I knew I was getting better. So I just dug in. I'd found my knife. I knew I had found my knife, and I was going after things.
You're going straight through the onion.
I was going straight through it. The adult chair was my knife to cut through the layers and layers of trauma. Thank you, God.
Wow.
And that's what it was.
Wow.
I'm still not exactly sure what I did at first. I just listened. And I learned. And when I would listen to a podcast, I would grab what needed to be grabbed at that moment and implement it into my life. And it was a decision to be better. It was determination. It was grace and faith in God and trusting in the plan He had for me. It was resiliency. I know all that now, but I didn't know it then. I was struggling to stay alive then.
Yeah.
Now I know, now looking back, I know what all that was. All those dark days, they had plenty of light. It's just, I wasn't seeing it.
Yeah, but you weren't seeing it. Did you start at the beginning of the podcast, or did you just kind of bounce around?
I started with number one, of course, everybody does, right? I started with number one and listened to like the first 80. And something that came up, and I thought, I need to find a podcast about this. Well, that podcast entered in that you had a website, you had events, you had this certification thing coming up. So I jumped in and started doing things and talked myself into submitting for the to go to the workshop. And
that was divine intervention.
Exactly. I sent an email. I'm like, I'm interested, and I got one back and said, "I'm sorry, it's full." And I'm like, I can't take that answer. I got to do something. I've got to do something in my control to throw it back out. So I sent you a message. I don't know, sent it somewhere, Facebook, Instagram. I have no idea. I sent you a message, and you messaged me back, told me something to do, and I sent an email.
Yeah, I said email in and tell them to, bump you up on that list and make sure, if there's any way you can get in, they'll get you in.
And I got in. And I thought, thank you, God. I got in. So I went that weekend, and I was talking to some of your assistants in the back, and we were just in talking, and she said, "Well, I think I have you down on the certification list." And I'm like, "What?" And she's like, yeah, I think you do. I'm like, "Well, okay." I said, it's full this year. And, 2021, I got a whole year to figure out if I'm going to do anything. So, I'm working on me. I'll do this. And I wasn't home, but just a few weeks. And I got an email that said, "Hey, there's room." And I'm like, "What?"
Clearly divine intervention.
So God had spoke to me last August and in 2019, and he said, "Give me the pen." And I'm not one to hear God, but I heard, "Give me the pen." It scared me. I did not. It frightened me because the whole aspect of giving someone control, giving God control. I can't give God control.
Yeah.
But I did. I said, "You know what? You can have it, because what I've got down here is a mess."
Yeah.
Take it. So when the workshop opened up and I was able to go, I thought, great, this is God telling me to go. So when the workshop opened up, I did. I felt like this is God telling me to go. This is to go and do. I've turned you to dust, and now I'm rebuilding you. So
tell us a little bit more about your journey. So you just listened to so you were in therapy till March, then you went to teletherapy, and then you went and found the podcast, or your friend gave you the podcast, which is so cool. So cool. And so you just started listening. So you just really were just applying, because the people, now I'm thinking about someone that might be listening to this going, oh my gosh, you're telling my story, Tanya. I'm in your place, whether it's anxiety, depression, chronic stress, codependency, whatever the heck it is, it doesn't matter. What did you do? Was there any specific podcast you listened to, or was there anything that you remember that you go, wow? Or was it just really listening and getting a different perspective on your life and on the world?
I think it was the latter. Listening and getting a different perspective from everything. Self-reflection and self-talk. That was a good one for me. So there's podcasts that touched on that. I became internally aware of, I was a story buster. I became internally aware of cognitive distortions and negative thought patterns. So I was a story buster. I was awakened to feel emotions and know that it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel. It's okay to do all this.
So you weren't feeling your emotions before?
Oh, no. I did not know. There's two emotions. You were either happy or you were mad.
Yes.
Yeah. Most of the time it was anger. You were either happy or you were mad. There really wasn't any in between. I watched my response, less reactionary. That was a big one. I've jokingly been called hair trigger. So becoming less reactionary was quite hard. To regulate and challenge negative thought patterns. Yeah. Just challenging them does a whole lot when you start to question.
Isn't that so true with depression? And I know, I mean, I lived with depression for many, many years in the beginning of my life. And that's one of the biggest things, is to become a story buster, because we live with stories. Something happens and we interpret it negatively.
Yes.
And that then leads to anxiety, for God's sake. It's like we've got something that happens, it's not true, or it's sort of true, or maybe 10% true, and 90% of it's a story, which then makes our mood drop. And then we become anxious about that. And then this chronic stress, it's a downward snowball effect. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
So for me, even I would agree, like becoming a story buster, and for sure, watching those thoughts.
Yes.
I mean, you were in I'm shocked over how quickly you're able to turn this around. Truly. Like, that's shocking to me.
I'm hard-headed.
Yeah.
I'm extremely determined.
I'm shocked, and I'm so grateful. Like, I'm listening to you like, wow, what an inspiration you are. And it's true though, the more we can catch those thoughts before they take us into that negative place and take us down.
Yeah,
we've got to take them, and even if we can bring them neutral, just go neutral. You don't have to go high. I think people, when they're depressed, think they've got to go high. It's like, no. It's like, you just got to bring it up to neutral even. Bring that thought to neutral, and don't go and bust those stories. Like, what is true, 100% true right now in this very moment, today? What's going on?
Exactly.
And when you do that, the whole story melts away right in front of your eyes. It's like, it's gone. It's like, well, none of that's true. I added all the fluff in the story around this shred of truth.
Exactly.
And that's what makes us depressed.
That's exactly it.
Beautiful. I love this.
A big thing for me, just in the past and just recently, has been acceptance. You just have to accept things. By the time this month, it was acceptance on in the
membership. Oh yeah, I was just going to ask you, are you in the membership? Yeah, we did the whole month on acceptance. I mean, my goodness.
I was good with it. I'm like, I've already did this. I've already accepted everything. I've let it go. I've let it be. If it comes back, it's great. If it doesn't, it's fine.
That's beautiful.
Just accepting things for how they are
in this moment, because as you know, you're living proof. As a human, we're all living proof that what's happening right now in this moment could change in the next moment. So you got to accept where you are today, and accepting it doesn't mean you like it. It doesn't mean you're resolving to never wanting change. It doesn't mean anything like that. Acceptance releases us from pushing against, oftentimes we don't want to accept. We're like 5-year-old little kids that like, I don't want to go to the doctor's office, or I don't want to go to wherever the mom's trying to drag the kid. And it's like, just accept that we have to go there. You can come home and play later. It's like accepting it releases that energy of pushback.
Right.
That's all it does. Yeah.
Yeah. It just releases it. Like, okay, that's the way it is. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Recognizing triggers to make changes in myself.
Oh yeah.
That one's tough.
Yeah.
And that one's, people don't understand that one, but that's okay.
I agree.
Triggers aren't about them.
No.
It's about us.
I hear that you took ownership of that. When we take ownership of our triggers, and people don't want to, people get mad. I just put in Instagram, was it today or in Facebook? Well, I don't know when it went out. Something about the triggers are such a gift.
Yeah.
And people don't like hearing that, but that's true, because a trigger is revealing something deeper inside of us that is unhealed and that needs our attention. That's all it does. That's all it's revealing, a shadow aspect. So when we take a look at that, it actually transforms us back into the light. You go from the dark shadow into the light. And with that comes, guess what? A little bit more self-love. So that's how you climb out of these really dark places of depression or even anxiety. Beautiful.
So I just threw myself in it all. So it was just I was gathering everything I could and implementing it in every single aspect I could. I began to notice how my devotionals or studies would be similar methods in the adult chair. God's word illustrates believers to use some of the same tools and techniques as a tool for spiritual growth. Take every thought captive.
Yes.
How are you supposed to do that if you don't really know how to meditate?
Right.
In my opinion, it's very hard to take every thought captive. If they're rummaging around and you don't know what's going on with them, and they're running like free will.
So true. 90,000 thoughts a day.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of thoughts. It's a ton of thoughts.
Yeah. And I've said that. I've just let go of some of the ones I was grabbing. Grab it. Yeah. Don't you said
Isn't
that.
It's fascinating that human beings, we tend to reach for the ones that don't feel very good, Yeah.
So I started reaching for the ones that don't feel very good. And if it doesn't bring me peace, I'm not touching it.
Good. Let those go. We don't need those.
Yeah. Not letting them.
That's definitely a big, what do I want to call it? A tool for getting us out of depression too, is really letting go of and not buying into those, lots of the 90,000 thoughts we have in a day. Let them go.
Absolutely.
Meditation's a great tool for that. It just teaches us how to witness thought instead of buying into all of them.
And I think a lot of the tools that the adult chair teaches kind of lets us figure out who we are. That's what it did for me. We're still working on it, but trying to figure out who I am and who I want to be.
Yeah.
And, I've told my husband, this next year is mine. I'm going to make my life what I want it to be, not what my mother wanted it to be. I love you, Mama. Don't mean anything bad.
No.
But just not anybody's life but my own. And not anybody's life that I thought I had to make for myself. Like I had to do this and I had to do this. No, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Is it okay? I love that you're saying this, because many people will be like, "Oh my God, she's so selfish." You shouldn't say that, Tanya. That's crap. It's not selfish. It's self-loving.
It's self-loving.
It's self-loving.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to put much love out if you don't love yourself.
You got to know what you like, what makes you tick, what brings you joy. What are you doing for you? It's not such a different concept. It's so different from being selfish. Selfish is like, I'm only going to want to go where I want to go, and I don't want to go where you want to go. And I'm going to eat all the brownies because I like brownies and you can't have any brownies and I don't care. It's like, that's selfish. Like I'm not asking anyone to be selfish, but I am asking and inviting people to get in touch with what do they love and what's healthy for them. And so many of us are just so outwardly focused. We don't even know.
Right. We don't know.
No, like spend time doing what you love.
And figure out who you are and own who you are. That was another one. It was in the 200s. owning who you are.
Yeah.
Amberly, what was her name?
Amberly?
Yeah.
Amberly?
The True Grit and Grace.
Oh, yeah. She's great too. Yeah.
Yeah. I listened to that podcast and I'm like, yes. That really got me.
Yeah.
That really helped.
That was a good show. I'll put that show number in the show notes. That was a great one.
But I learned to accept myself and, and all the ugly parts that everybody may not like. My therapist gets on to me for this. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's totally okay. It's fine.
Yes.
I don't have to be everybody's cup of tea.
No.
So it's okay. You don't have to like me. You don't have to love me. And, I love myself. So I'm working on loving myself. So that's impossible.
I love that. It's impossible to have everybody on the planet like you or love you because it's not possible. You're going to trigger people because they've got stuff, or you're going to remind them of their mother and they can't stand their mother just because you wear the same glasses as their mother. I mean, you never know why. It doesn't matter.
Right.
That's why it's important that we show up as the best version of ourselves and that we love ourselves more than anybody else. Otherwise, how in the world do you set boundaries? How do you take care of yourself? How do you, it's a game changer.
All of it.
Yep.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm taking pieces of everything and I'm rebuilding my life. Talk to me in a year, see where I'm at.
I think I might have Tanya part 2.
Tanya part 2. Yeah.
I love how quickly too, when you started to apply the adult chair model, I love how quickly it sounded like to me, at least from what you said, that people started reflecting back like, wow, you're changing.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you're so different.
Yes.
Like it was like in like a month or so?
I think I added it up, and I think it was like 4 months.
4 months.
In May. And that's still great, because that's
4 months. That's crazy.
Yeah. From me finding the adult chair. Previous to that, I think it was 8 months being in therapy.
Wow.
Because I've just hit a year mark. It's just a year.
And you're a completely different person than you were a year ago.
Absolutely. If you knew me a year ago, you probably don't know me now.
Do you like yourself more now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you feel much healthier?
Yes.
What does your family say? What did your husband and kids, do they notice?
I have a 14-year-old son. He as much as
he's like, what? You changed, Mom?
Yeah. What you do? What's for dinner?
What about your husband?
But no, my husband has noticed. My therapist, she may get on to me for saying this, but she was brought to tears a few weeks ago. I do want to say this. She was brought to tears a few weeks ago. She and I were discussing all things self, and I told her, she was telling me I don't give myself enough credit and on how much work and how much internal things I've done. You're not giving yourself enough credit, Tanya. You've done this, and this. And I'm like, I don't see it, Sarah. I don't see it. You do. I don't. And, she was giving me my little talk, and, she cried. She cried on me. I love you, Sarah. But she cried on me. And I says, yeah, but I still have that thick patient file. And she's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. And my file is like a 1/4 inch thick, maybe a 1/2 inch thick.
Wow.
So if it was 3.5 inches thick in May of 2020, the adult chair helped me cut straight through all that garbage.
It's your knife.
It's still helping me through. It was my knife.
I love that.
I told her I needed a knife. God sent me a knife. The adult chair's been my knife.
Oh my God. So beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
It's absolutely beautiful. Is there anything else you want to share about your story? Anything else you want to share? Because I'm listening to you, I'm like, I am such a proud mama over here because I'm listening to you going, that's the adult chair. Like when you're like, I was a story buster. I was mindful. I was owning my reality. I was living in fact and truth. I owned my triggers. I'm like, yes. Check. Adult chair. Love it.
Adult chair. Yes.
You challenge your negative thinking, like all of it. I learned to respond versus react. It's like, oh my gosh, what a total inspiration. Like truly, what an inspiration.
The same walls I use to protect, the same walls we use to protect our image are the same ones that imprison us with our pain. That's everybody. That's everybody.
Is that your quote? That's good.
I think I got it in a devotional somewhere.
That's beautiful.
I screenshot things and then I put them together.
Yeah. Can you say that again? I liked that. Say that again slowly so I can let it land.
I know I'm fast walker.
Say it.
The same walls we use to protect our image are the same ones that imprison us with our pain.
Oh,
right.
Dang,
so when I have a
girl.
bad day, I would go back and where I screenshot that, and I would some stuff would just hit me different. Devotionals would hit me different. The book I was reading would hit me different. So I just accumulated things, and I don't know. I made myself a little cheer section, with a lot of papers.
I'm so impressed. So impressed.
And I learned to start to love myself. I'm still working on it.
Well, this life, it's the quote, life's a journey is really true. Like I wish, and man, did I run down my life path looking for the end, for that finish line. I'm like, when I cross that finish line, then I'll fully love myself and I'll never have to work on it. It's like, no, it's an ongoing journey.
Yeah. You better love yourself now.
Until you're in the cemetery, then you have to keep monitoring your thoughts and working on that.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And once you start to learn that life isn't about fixing it all, it's about accepting and moving on and loving what is.
Yep.
You have to recognize the situation as it currently is and welcome how you feel and understand it. It's hard stuff.
It is. And not living in the past or the future, living right here in the now.
Yeah.
Accepting what's right here smack dab in front of you.
Yeah, this is the way it is. This is what it's going to be. This is what you've been served. Let's go.
Love it. Love it. Wow. What an inspiration. How fun that you're going to be a adult chair coach. So anyone listening to this, if you ever want to have a session with Tanya, you're going to be certified in a few months and you'll be able to do your Zoom sessions with anyone that wants to reach out.
Exactly.
So and just to really get some coaching from you on how to walk their way out of depression or anxiety or nervous breakdown, all of it. You clearly have done it.
Probably covered it.
I think that you've touched on just about everything here.
Probably covered it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Tanya. Honestly, this was really vulnerable. I know I know that people get a little nervous, so I thank you. And I know it was a little scary getting on here, but I think that people are I appreciate it because I think, again, people want to hear stories. Like, how do I do this? And you just let them know.
That was part of my decision. And that was back when I decided to make my steps forward. I've questioned why I'm going through this. Yeah. Why? We all ask why. And I just decided it didn't matter why. God knew why. And I was just going to go with it. Learn to trust and go with it.
Not in the adult chair. We don't ask the question why.
Oh, I know. That's a bad word. And
I'm like, why? Who cares? Let's go forward.
Yeah, we're just going to go forward. So, yes. So I stopped asking why a long time ago.
Yeah. Why? When we ask the question why, it turns us into our past. Mm-hmm. There's nothing good about it. Like, who cares why? And by the way, if you know why, if you figure out, okay, now I know why I'm depressed, let's just say, it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah. It doesn't make any difference.
It doesn't matter. It's like, well, because my mother didn't do this or my father didn't do that or my sibling did this or my grandmother did that. It's like, okay, now what? You still got to turn forward at some point and keep walking your path and look forward. Don't live in the future, but do look forward and keep walking. Right. I was somebody, that's what really kept me stuck with depression. I was blaming and looking in the past. Well, if my parents had done this and that differently, I wouldn't be like this. It's their fault. Okay. At some point I had to be like, okay, I'm putting that cement suitcase down. We're going to move on now.
Right. Yeah. Putting the old cement suitcase down was a hard one. Did that too.
Yep. You got to let that go. Drop the suitcase, honey. It's like, okay. Looking backwards. Can't do that anymore. So awesome. All right, my love. Thank you so much. If anyone is listening to this in the future, go to theadultchair.com and you can check out Tanya's profile. And if you want to have a session with her in the future, she will be on there for sure. So thank you. Who knew this was a promo for one of my coaches?
Hey, who knew? Who knew I was going to be a coach 3 weeks ago? No,
I know. Who knew? You're going to be an awesome coach because you know why? You've walked this walk, and that experience is one of the best things you can offer anybody. That's it. You've done it.
I've walked through the valley.
You walked through the valley. Yeah, babe. All right, sweetie. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right. Wasn't that a great show, you guys? I love Tonya. She's a doll, and she went through this coaching certification, and she was a rock star. And I'm so excited to have her launch her career because she's got experience, and that is what I love. That is what I'm looking for with coaches. So anyway, okay, remember in the beginning, I talked to you about journaling challenge. theadultchair.com/30 days. And I'll put all this in the show notes, of course. We've got Charleston Adult Chair Live Workshop. Come on. January 14th through 16th. That's at theadultchair.com/events. And lastly, if you'd like to become a certified coach, we are taking names for June 2021. That's at theadultchair.com/certification. So if you feel like you'll love this model, that's the key requirement. If you love this model, then come on. And the prerequisite is to take a workshop. So if you're even thinking about it, come on to Charleston in January, and then you'll be all set to join us in June for the next coaching certification. Okay, you guys, lots and lots of love, and have a beautiful week. And I will see you seated right here next week in the adult chair.